people, and they all got separate accounts. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about is that you guys are now, as you said, serial entrepreneurs. Talk about that, because is that how you guys always been? Like, you've always been entrepreneurs from day one, or?
Well, I've been an entrepreneur from day one.
Okay.
Graduated from Morehouse in December of '09. Started a family trucking company with my parents and my brother. And did that for a few years, and I decided I wanted to branch out on my own. And with my wife, I met my wife by that time, and we decided we wanted to branch out on our own, and got ourselves some equipment. And then I decided I wanted to do a little real estate. My mom's a practicing agent, and I've learned from her for years.
The best agent.
The best agent in Georgia. I would have to give her her props.
Mama Felder.
Yes.
Mama
Shout
Felder.
out
We
to
don't want you to
Mama.
get beat up for not giving her
Yes.
a props.
Yes, that's right. So yeah, I've learned up under her for many years, and went and got my license finally, and started practicing real estate. So we just grew our businesses over the years, and it's been good to us, you know.
Okay. Now, Jess, I remember you were saying early on that you were in corporate America for 6 years. So when did the entrepreneurial bug hit you, and was that like ever, I don't want to say like a problem, but like were you always like supportive of the entrepreneurial spirit?
I will say supportive, yes. Understanding, not so much. It was completely new to me. Huge skyscraper in Philly. So my dad went to a hospital, and that's what I'm used to. Like, I have to get up, I gotta go to work at this time, this is what I do, we get paychecks. And that's what my brother and I were, used to. So we're like, okay, we're gonna go get great jobs after college or whatever. But then when you meet people who are like, we're gonna start this business, or we're gonna do this, it's just like, okay, that sounds cool, I'm with it, but I have no idea what that means, or what that looks like. So for me to say, I'm gonna go to my job, and I'm gonna take all of my money, and I'm gonna put all of my money with your money, it's gonna be our money, but you're saying every few weeks, let's take this money and go buy this, or let's go do this, like equipment, things like that, let's invest it here, or do this with it. The resistance for me was all about, honestly, ignorance. I had no idea what you're doing with this money. Like, what does this mean? Like, what are we, a lot of iron sharpening iron, because there were skills that I could transfer that could help him in his side of it, and vice versa. So I think a lot of it came down to communication, because I really was down, I was with it, I was supportive, but getting him to explain to me what things mean, like, well, why did this happen? What does this mean? And my questions, of course, were not phrased that way. So
Not with the same tone, right?
no, of course not.
Look at here, boy, man, you better.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is that's a really important thing, though, if you are coming together, to think about what it means to even explain to your partner what you're thinking, because we assume people understand, we assume people know, especially when we're married, but you have to remember, they lived 20 plus years before they even knew you, a totally separate life, and there are skills that they've been learning from their parents or all their spheres of influence for years before you ever came into play. So honestly, just what we had to do is like literally break it down to ABCs sometimes. Like, I have to break stuff down to him, like, this is what I'm saying, and he has to do the same thing with me. It's not that he's a brilliant guy and vice versa, but I just don't get it sometimes.
It's like that security blanket and that brick builder over there. Just
I
want
guarantee you, he probably like his pops. Or my mom used to always say this: always when you get with a woman, always watch how she treats her dad.
Right.
Because how she treats her dad is how she treats you.
Absolutely.
And that's broke up many of my, like, I don't, like, she could have probably been the best thing to me, but if you disrespecting your father,
That's right.
you ain't got no problem. But you have to take the time to start having that conversation. Like, as you guys said, she was a 9-to-5er, all day, every day. Good job. All day, every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For real.
And then here you are, an entrepreneur. And I think I heard this, and David McCovey says this all the time, and I heard it and I listened to it. Mark Cuban said it. He said, I would rather make $50,000 and work 80 hours a week for myself than to make $100,000 and work 40 hours a week for someone else.
True.
Either way is okay, right? Having a 9-to-5 is okay, but I promise you, if you are married and your spouse does not understand, or support what you're doing, you probably won't be doing it long.
it's gonna be difficult.
It's going to be extremely difficult, because, and I'll just tell you a little bit about us. Like, when I jumped out, Well, I was pushed out the plane. I didn't jump out the plane. People say I jumped. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was kind of pushed.
Yeah.
But when I was pushed out this plane, I could have easily went back and got another banking job. I could have easily been making 80, 90 grand a year. But I told Darlene, I want control of me. I know I can help clients. I know what I can do. I know my capability. I want my control back.
Right.
And she was like, yeah, that sounds great. How much does it pay? And I was like, well, it's commission based.
Uh-oh.
She
It was
like,
in a transition stage for us, so it was, my mindset was like, yeah, we really don't want to do that right now.
and I knew, but at that time I knew it, and I would, like you said, it was hard to convey to her what I saw that I can get because she wasn't in the industry. So in finances, I'm like, look, if Chase is paying, well, I'm trying not to use names, but if my bank that I was working for can pay me $1,500, I can make 10. You understand what I'm saying? Because they're not gonna, and I'm at the top of the food chain. They're not gonna pay me everything. She was like, yeah, but I see that 15 strong. You know what I'm saying? So
Guaranteed.
that's what you said. Sometimes as men, what we do is we just run that stop sign. Well, you'll get it, woman. Just catch up.
Right.
No, she needs to feel safe and secure. You need to sit down and say, okay, I'm gonna block everything out, and I'm gonna explain my vision to you until we get it, until we're on the same page.
True.
If that means I may have to pick up a part-time job and do this, so you feel that security, then we're willing to do it. But I think so easily now, people just be like, man, if she don't get it, she catch on. And that's how, like, we talk.
That jump. A lot of people are jumping without faith and without a plan, so that becomes an issue too.
Well, not only that, I think a lot of people are putting me in front of God.
Amen.
True.
You understand what I'm saying? I
Yes.
know I could do this. I know, but if that's not God ordained you to do that, like people tell me, well, I'm stepping out on faith, which means I'm stepping out on nothing. No,
Not at all.
faith is stepping out on God, believing Him to do. You understand what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean you stepping out on nothing? I'm not with you. I don't support
Stepping
that.
out on the
I
most.
will say the one thing that you mentioned that was really important is you talked about goals and what the vision that you see and why do you want to spend your life with me or vice versa, whatever. You have to really talk to the person about where are we going?
Right.
Like one of the first questions we ask on a first date, where do you see yourself at age 50?
True.
Where do you see yourself at age 70? If those places are not the same, we probably shouldn't go on this journey together. We're not going to the same place. And as far as stepping out on faith and having God and everything, you really have to think about, what am I doing with my day? Am I really serving God here? Like, for me, I have to think at work, like I'm doing something that I honestly can't say that I'm serving enough people. I know God will put me in a place and I may be there to help the people around me or whatever, but if you feel like you can serve more people doing something else, or you could do God's work better somewhere else, then He's gonna provide for you.
That's
Like,
right.
that's the step out on faith. He's gonna provide for the kingdom work that needs to be done. But if you're not in line with that, then you can't step out on faith. That's not what you're doing. You're doing what you wanna do, and that's not going to get you and your spouse anywhere good. But if you have a goal in mind, if you say, like he and I have we talked about different places, different paths to get to the same place.
Right.
So I can go to my job every day, and he can go and work 27 businesses. We're going to the same place. We got the same destination.
And one thing that kind of helps with that, I'm not sure if you guys do it, but we have vision boards that we put together. And she gets magazines that she like, I get magazines that I like, and she cuts out what she wants, I cut out what I want, and we just paste it on, and when we look at it at the end, it's like, wow, you got your dreams over here, I got my dreams, we're all scattered out together. But we look at the board and we say, wow, we combined our dreams, and all we got to do is just keep praying and believing it, and it's just coming to fruition every day.
And the powerful part in that is you have to communicate with your spouse of what's going on with you because they don't know. Like you can say, I know my husband, but you don't know what's in his head. Like, again, like she could probably tell you what type of, like if she had to go buy me a car, she could probably buy the car I want. But it's bigger than a car. I tell my wife all the time, like, I want land. She was like, why? I was like, I just want, and envision this. And I painted the picture. Like, I just could imagine like our family, we have a house and there's a lake
Wants a
out there.
compound, he just doesn't
Yeah,
want
I do. Like, I
Right.
want a compound, and darling, I'm like,
That's
I
right.
can imagine us having like 2 dogs, and they just, like, that's my vision. You understand what I'm saying? But also imagine like us owning a subdivision.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Shopping
like when
places.
you look at somebody and you be like, all right, I got a subdivision, and you know this person is struggling, they're doing everything they can, and God says, you know, put them in a house. And not only am I putting you in a house, that house is paid for.
Absolutely.
But where I think me and my wife lined up for, I want to be able to do that, and the person don't know I was the one that did it.
Right.
Because I don't want nobody feeling like, oh my God, Mr. Bailey gave me a house, Mr. Bailey gave me a
Give
house.
credit to the Lord.
You understand what I'm saying? I want to be able to say, look what God blessed us to do, and I don't want that person feeling like they owe us anything.
Right.
And when my wife, she lines up and was like, yeah, I can see that. You understand what I'm saying? That's when you know the vision is there.
Right.
So when she came and I don't get me wrong, everything I brought to the table was not supported.
Mhm.
But because she didn't get it, I always looked at it as, am I doing my job enough to my spouse to explain to her where I'm trying to, how this is gonna get us where we're going?
True.
Just like when she came with the travel.
He was not trying to hear it.
I was like, really? Really, that's what we're doing
He
now? We
was
travel
not trying
agents?
to hear it.
And my wife, when she said, this is what I'm passionate about, this is how I can see it helping us, da-da-da-da-dee-da-dee, I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. And so many times people, because they don't get it, they'll shut it down.
Right.
Why would you shut down the person that you love's dreams?
Mhm.
Because that's when, remember we talked about it before, when infidelity starts, is because every time somebody got a dream, you're like, nope,
Right.
nope,
Mhm.
that ain't gonna work.
But
Did you
Susie
even
at the
listen?
office, she listens.
Yeah, you know what I
Right,
mean?
that's how
Becky
it
and them,
starts.
Becky and them is
Right.
like, ooh,
Daryl be
I
listening
just
real
simple,
hard.
right? But you gotta be strong enough to be like, hey, look, man, you need to listen to my idea, cause that woman is giving me more attention than you, and this ain't right.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Hurt.
That-
Don't get her hurt.
That's what I said. See, her eyes be off. She's shooting at me. She be missing. But no, but
Yeah.
it's accountability in a marriage. And the reason I'm having this conversation and having this debate on the topic on the show is that if they don't get nothing more out of what we're talking about, that you just have to open up and let your partner hold you accountable.
True.
If your spouse can't pull you to the side, not in front of nobody and disrespect you, be like, man, what you thinking, big boy?
Right.
What was that about?
Right.
You want to explain to me what the train of thought was about that? And you don't get offensive and you just like, nah, I was thinking this. Yeah, you missed that one, bro.
He was all the way
You was
off.
all the way off. And I tell my wife this all the time. And she even said it one time. She said, I know my husband's going to tell me about this behind closed doors. You sure right. Yes, I am. Yes, ma'am.
Accountability.
I'm not going to do it in front of nobody because I'll never belittle her in front of nobody.
Absolutely.
When we get home, I'm like,
Throw them hands.
yeah.
No, he's not gonna wait till we get home. He's gonna wait till we get in the car.
Soon we get private. I'm not gonna throw them hands because she might be little, but she like a cat. You ever seen like a little
She gonna
cat
get
try to
you.
climb?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
she gonna get me. But it's the same way. Like if I speak out of turn or whatever the case may be, I always tell people say behind every great man is a great woman. And I said I'm too big for her to be standing behind me. Beside every great man, right? Because when
Absolutely.
your wife stands at the right hand side of you, you give her just as much authority as you.
True.
She just understands that you're the head and she reverences that. But God forbid if something happened, because I tell married couples this all the time. Your spouse is going to leave you, voluntarily or involuntarily.
Mhm.
They got a day to go.
Right.
My job, my mission for my wife is to make sure that if I leave this earth before she does, that my legacy continues, our legacy continues.
Absolutely.
She ain't got to rely on no other man to come in there and take,
No.
you a boss, you got it, you
That's
can
right.
do this, you see the vision, keep it going, and keep my ashes over the mantle because anybody else that comes in here, I'm haunting them, you know what I mean?
Yes,
That's in the
I agree.
plan.
Yeah,
Oh,
but-
yeah, that's in the plan.
yeah, that's in the plan. That's in the plan. I'm gonna be coming back in our dogs. I'm gonna be talking about those title. But as married couples, we don't have the communication. Like you said, she didn't understand. It was your job to talk to her to make her understand. Anybody else, man, she don't get it. She
Yeah.
ain't for me.
Right.
Wait a minute, you ain't even try.
Right.
Like you just gonna go get another one, and then this one, like man, look,
Mhm.
80-20, man, you
Wasting
giving up,
time.
yeah,
Wasting time.
man. So I appreciate that. I really, really, really do. One question I do have is that, how long did it take for the 9 to 5 in the business to come to the middle of the track?
I would say at least like 4. We're still working on that. I will say, I've decided to make some changes and kind of come over to the business side a little bit more.
We want another one, y'all.
So,
Hallelujah.
yes.
Won't he do it?
So actually today was my last day at my 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Because I see the vision now. But I think one thing that really helped with that was we would share videos and share material. So if he read a book that was really helpful to him in business, he would share that with me. Like, babe, get this on Kindle. This is dope. Like, watch this video. He'll email me videos or whatever mentors he's into at the moment. It's just like, look at what he's saying. Look at what she's saying. Look at what's happening here. And I'll share with him similarly. And I think that helped because sometimes you can't say it with your words to get them to see. But if you hear it from someone else in a controlled environment, then you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Right.
So I think that kind of sped it up a little bit. We're still working on it, but I think now I'm pretty much sold. Like I'm like, whatever you want to do, man, let's do it.
Let's jump in the pool together.
That's right.
Sometimes you gotta see a little fruit before you drink the Kool-Aid. So
I mean, it's gonna be a constant work. You guys are gonna constantly work at it, but as long as you're keeping those lines of communication open, you'll go far.
So how do you, let's be, because I know congratulations on your jump,
thank
right?
you.
And I know I'm gonna ask Darlene this question, I'm gonna answer it, but how do you feel about being, because basically people say, people always say, I can't work with my spouse. You ever hear, I can't work with my spouse, I see you all day at work, and like, literally, when I tell people, Darlene's my best friend, like, I don't have a problem being around her all day. Now, don't get me wrong, we do need some alone time, right? So you go, but how do you guys coincide with being business partners and married?
I think we found a solution. We work pretty well anyway together. We don't mind being around each other all day, all night, all that good stuff. But sometimes we get so passionate about what we believe individually, it's hard to communicate with one another. So what we've decided to do, and it's been working very well, when we find ourselves getting off course and start arguing, we just text each other. So that way it's not us talking. I'm not saying, hey, you need to listen to me, and she's saying, you need to listen to me. It's just, I'm texting it to her, hey, you think you might want to listen? And then she texts me back, well, this is what I'm trying to say. And then sometimes when we lay it all out in the text, and then we come together and say, hey, let's just pray about it, you know what I mean? And we pray about our text message. And we might be in the same room, we just shoot each other text messages, but that works for us.
Right.
Everybody got their own thing, so.
You know what me and Sean do?
What's that?
We take both our iPads and we battle each other in a DJ.
That's nice.
And we've been doing this for years. Like, I think when we finally realized that we were spending too much, it was one Black Friday. We went and just went ham. And we wound up buying a second laptop, which we won't discuss how Sean got that laptop. And we got to an argument like a week later or whatever. And one day we was just sitting in the middle of the bed. He's on one side, I'm on the other. And I just start playing music. He was like, oh, you think you cute? I got one better. So, still to the day, it's the little things like that that will either make you laugh, put a smile on your face, or just make it right.
Right.
But you're communicating.
Absolutely.
No matter how it's done, it's communication.
And I mean, like you said, what works for you, one of the things that I'll tell you is like when we and her we do have disagreements, we all argue, and if anybody listen to this says, wow, they argue, if you don't argue with your spouse, that means you're not
Something
wrong.
is not right.
Something wrong. But my wife will tell you, you gonna talk to me. You gonna, I don't wanna talk about it. That's sorry, but you about to talk about this. Because and I'll give her time. I will not just batten down the hatches. I will say, okay, I'm gonna give you a little bit of while, but please believe you got about an hour. Because I need you, and we can't be holding this. We're a team.
Right.
And the team is dysfunctional? No.
Absolutely.
Well, I just don't want to talk about it right now. Okay. What'd you say about, it's 6 o'clock now, what'd you say about 7:30?
No, he'd be like 6:05.
I'm
Okay,
coming
ready to
right
talk?
back. And what happens is you talk, okay, I just didn't understand it. I just didn't understand it. I didn't mean, there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, and that I think aggravates her more, because I'm quick to be like, I'm sorry, my bad. I didn't mean that.
Right, that's me.
Move
That's
on.
me.
Seriously,
Yeah.
she be like, really? You just gonna say sorry? What would you like me to say? You want me to Ike your this? What you want? My bad. It's not to me,
6.5 more minutes.
because what I'm saying is this: the vision that we've painted for ourselves is so big. Do we really think that this is? I get you want to be mad. All right, be mad.
Right.
But then I always say stuff, and I know she hates it. I was like, dogs get mad. Dogs get mad. So what you trying to say? I'm just saying. I'm not trying to say anything. But I try to lighten the load because, again, it's not that deep. Now, when I get mad, one of the things that I do is I shut down because I don't want to escalate it more. So I just, okay, let me get my thoughts about me, and give me a minute. But she'll come and say, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing. Give me a minute. Well, no, now she tries to pull a Sean, and I just say, okay, da, and she hits me with the same thing. Oh, it ain't that deep, my bad. And move on, and I can see why it frustrates you, because you're like, man, you know how mad I am about this? But the one thing that I tell them, you do not want to, because as soon as you start not talking about something and letting it go, and then all of a sudden y'all come back and y'all ain't addressed that, that's something.
Absolutely.
Or
Investors.
you let time go and you run into somebody else and have a conversation with that person, then you're getting their thoughts and their feelings about it, and that influences what you do when you should have gotten that from your spouse. So another thing that we do is we have like legitimate business meeting with minutes. Meeting minutes, like we scribe out like this is what happens.
Oh, I love it.
This is our agenda. I type it up and
And
everything.
Cracker
Write it
Barrel.
down.
Yes, we have
You
to.
can write
We
that.
have to
You
be
can
at a
write it
different place, but like we will have to remove ourselves from our home and have a meeting at Cracker Barrel or IHOP somewhere with pancakes because it makes me think better. But
Pancakes make me happy.
with pen and paper, and we really have topics of discussion. Like today, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this. And when we're out in public, we're not about to start fighting over it here. And we feel more professional because we're, in our business people mode. So it's easier when you think about it like that. But I think, excuse me, one of the things that we've had to do more recently is to think, hey, we're actually probably going to be together for about 1 billion years. So this one day or this one thing is teeny tiny. And I think with finances, couples kind of get all out of whack about it because money kind of runs the world. And they don't understand, like, this is your person. You're about to be with this person forever. Don't hurt your person over money. You're gonna spend and make so much money in this life. Like you can get more money.
Right.
You cannot get another spouse. Don't hurt that person or wound that person to the point where you can't repair that over money.
No. And people say that, well, yeah, you can always replace. No, you can't. When God has sent you the right one, that's irreplaceable.
Mm-hmm.
So you are definitely right. I like that idea, and the reason I love these guys, and the reason that they've been really, really dear friends and close friends of me and Darlene is how I met Jerry was in the bank.
Absolutely.
And I won't go too deep in the story, but the reason I fell, and it sounds weird when a man says you fall in love with a dude, but when you love somebody, that's the only way you gotta fall
It's
into.
a bromance.
I love you
It's a
too,
bromance.
man. I love you too, big boy.
No homo.
Yeah, no homo pause. Hey, you. He came to me and we was talking about something with Jess, and I just was like, "What are you doing, bro?" Like, and I gave him advice. And as a man, he could have bucked up and been like, "Man, that big dude don't know me," because literally that was like what, the second time we talked or the first time?
I believe it was the first time.
The first time we talked, the first time I met this man, I'm like, man, if you don't do da 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 da, and I mean, like, I'm really getting on the dude like he was a little brother, and he did.
We'll wait till we get somebody to talk about that. No, that's
No.
wrong. That's backwards.
Well, when you broke.
When you have $2, think about how you're gonna plan and make this $2 do
Absolutely.
whatever, and get on the same page about 2. And then when you get 200,000, whatever, you know what to do with it.
Absolutely.
And keep God in it.
Yeah,
First.
and everything they said, I'm just gonna wrap and sum up, man. When you meet somebody and you realize that's a person that you believe that God has sent you and you want to spend the rest of your life with, have that money conversation then. Don't ignore the signs. Talk about it. Just because you see a sign and you don't like it, talk about it. Because the clearer the communication, there's, like people say, don't muddy up the water. Just talk about it and learn and understand where that person is coming from. The one thing that I can say is always listen with a mind of understanding. Never listen to respond. Listen to understand and empathize or sympathize, because you never know what your spouses went through. And there's some things they may not tell you, and when you lash out a certain way, they shut down. You don't realize that it's bigger than money. They have to be able to feel like they can come home and be naked with you, not just physically, but emotionally. People will get physically naked, but will not get emotionally naked with the person and say, this hurts, that bothers me. It took the passing of my mom to realize it's okay to cry in front of my wife. Like, it's okay, you know what I mean? And as a man, that's all you want to do is you want to be able to be yourself, but not feel judged, you know? Like,
Absolutely.
you don't want to be like, oh, you a big punk, you crying. There's a movie out there, and if y'all see it, man, and you don't cry, don't be my friend. But there's a movie out there called Marley and Me about the dog. 30 minutes into the movie, I'm out the big water bag, bro. But my wife doesn't look at, she be looking at me like, really? But she gets it because I love dogs. But the one thing I wanted to close up and say, man, is any married couple, if you're thinking about getting married or if you're dating someone right now, talk to them about money. Because I guarantee you that money will lead to a deeper conversation about their emotions and how they feel, because people spend money based off their emotions. So with that being said, again, I appreciate you guys tuning in to Getting Down to Business. Thank you for Darlene and Jess and Jerry for spending it, coming out and spending this time with me. I believe next week we'll be at Oasis. We'll be broadcasting live from the O. Tune in next week, same bat time, same bat channel on 108 Praise Radio, Voice in the Gospel. I am your host, Sean Bailey, your financial lifestyle planner, and you are listening to Getting Down to Business. I love you guys. Thank you. Bonfire.
Awesome.
We did our thing, Court?
Yeah, I did your thing.
And keep God in it.
Yeah,
First.
and everything they said, I'm just gonna wrap and sum up, man. When you meet somebody and you realize that's a person that you believe that God has sent you and you want to spend the rest of your life with, have that money conversation then. Don't ignore the signs. Talk about it. Just because you see a sign and you don't like it, talk about it. Because the clearer the communication, there's, like people say, don't muddy up the water. Just talk about it and learn and understand where that person is coming from. The one thing that I can say is always listen with a mind of understanding. Never listen to respond. Listen to understand and empathize or sympathize, because you never know what your spouses went through. And there's some things they may not tell you, and when you lash out a certain way, they shut down. You don't realize that it's bigger than money. They have to be able to feel like they can come home and be naked with you, not just physically, but emotionally. People will get physically naked, but will not get emotionally naked with the person and say, this hurts, that bothers me. It took the passing of my mom to realize it's okay to cry in front of my wife. Like, it's okay, you know what I mean? And as a man, that's all you want to do, is you want to be able to be yourself but not feel judged, you know? Like,
Absolutely.
you don't want to be like, oh, you a big punk, you crying. There's a movie out there, and if y'all see it, man, and you don't cry, don't be my friend. But there's a movie out there called Marley and Me about the dog. 30 minutes into the movie, I'm out the big water bag, bro. But my wife doesn't look at, she be looking at me like, really? But she gets it because I love dogs. But the one thing I wanted to close up and say, man, is any married couple, if you're thinking about getting married or if you're dating someone right now, talk to them about money. Because I guarantee you that money will lead to a deeper conversation about their emotions and how they feel, because people spend money based off their emotions. So with that being said, again, I appreciate you guys tuning in to Getting Down to Business. Thank you for Darlene and Jess and Jerry for spending it, coming out and spending this time with me. I believe next week we'll be at Oasis. We'll be broadcasting live from the O. Tune in next week, same bat time, same bat channel on 108 Praise Radio, Voice in the Gospel. I am your host, Sean Bailey, your financial lifestyle planner, and you are listening to Getting Down to Business. I love you guys. Thank you. Bonfire.
Awesome.
We did our thing, Court?
Yeah, I did your thing.